Start the day with Orphé. I'm a routine, I get better each day. I conquer my goals, I plan to be great. I plan to be early, you plan to be late. Your bread in the kitchen, my bread in the bank. The secret if you tryna master your fate is start the day with Orphé.
Welcome to Start the Day with Orphé. This is a journey in growth. It's designed to be a safe space. It is designed to be some place where we can all develop the skills that we need to meet the challenges that we have in life and to continually grow. My name is Anthony Orphé, and I'm here with my main man, Wilber Trivino. Say what's up, Will.
Yo, what's good? How you doing?
And in this, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about finance. We're going to talk about everything from marriage, emotional stability, anything that you can think of. We're going to talk about it. You know, we've had the pleasure of knowing each other for quite some time. We first met in 2010. And in this first episode, I think what we're going to do is we're going to spend time really just giving you guys a glimpse into our relationship, right? Getting to know us. And as we grow and as we level up, you'll level up, you'll grow. So I think, really what really inspired me here and what I think inspired Wilber, we used to have conversations all the time. And our conversations would be about everything, right? Everything from dating at the time before we were married, right? Everything, about the relationships that we had with different people, the people who were trying to fuck us over, right? And
oh, we cursing in here too?
Oh yeah, I did say fuck, but that's okay, right? I think it's real, right? It's real and authentic. It's raw. We are the realest, right, podcast. Yeah. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to make sure that we always say we are the realest podcast for growth and for development.
For sure.
Right? Because we want to be raw. We want to be honest from our perspective and the things that we've been able to do.
No holds barred.
And I think for us, right, it's really been important that we want to share those perspectives with the audience, right? We want to make sure that they understand where we come from, that although we've been able to achieve, some very, very high level, things, that we don't come from silver spoons, right? We want to make sure that people understand that we're going to a place of inspiration, right? We're going to a place where all the young folks out there who are listening to this, right, that we are your mentors, that you look at us and you say, yeah, I may not have met them in person yet, right? But they are my mentors. And that right there is the piece that I think is super important. So like I said, like Wilber and I, we've known each other for almost 15 years. We met in August of 2010 in law school in Buffalo. We happened to live together, right? And so you learn a lot of shit about people when you live together, right? You learn more about a person living together, sharing a bathroom, sharing a kitchen, watching them fuck up food and then realize damn, you really about to eat that shit? You're like, damn, son, you don't care about your life, so I can see damn.
Yo, what else? Well, on that note, what else are you supposed to do when there's snow on the ground, there's a blizzard, and it's cold as hell in Buffalo, and you just finished the last food item you had, to make whatever tasted awful? You eat it, man.
Well,
you eat it.
Yeah, I guess so. And The Walking Dead and The Last of Us and shit, you eat what you can. You save everything. But, when you're young and impressionable, and I think, still coming into who you are as a person and learning everything about yourself, and then now you're being thrust into this whole new, realm of professional school, it is, you're right. It's a very different way to be thinking, because now my mom's not cooking my meals. Right. So shit, I don't think I saw my mom put, vanilla silk in macaroni and cheese, but I'm going to do that shit because you know what? I don't care, right? My mom cares. I don't.
That's a true story.
That is a true story. But
just that should give you a glimpse as to how real this is going to get. I cooked mac and cheese, and the only milk that was in the fridge was Anthony's vanilla silk milk, and I was like, oh, it can't be that bad. And nah,
Wrong.
it tasted very vanilla-y.
Shit was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, but
it was nasty.
But I ate it.
I didn't eat it, but I can smell it and look at it and tell you shit was nasty. So, I think I'll give you a little. Let me just tell. Let for the audience, right before we start, is tell a little bit about myself, and then you tell them a little bit about yourself, and so for me, young black man, of course, from Syracuse, New York, born in Los Angeles, have had the opportunity to do a lot of things in my lifetime. I was an executive for the city of Rochester. I of course, graduated from law school, so I have a bachelor's degree in political science. I have a master's degree in public administration, of course, a law degree, as well as, an MBA from Columbia, right? So, of course, Columbia University being one of the top business schools in the entire world, places where people like, Robert Smith, Henry Kravis, Warren Buffett. I mean, shout out to all the people who have come through those halls before me, but it's given me quite the unique perspective on being able to achieve, right? An achievement, right? You learn all of this kind of things. And it's one of the reasons that, we wanted to start the podcast to show people, to be that shining beacon for like the younger folks, for the folks out there looking like, man, what do I need to do to level up? I know that I want to be X, but I also don't know how to do it.
Right.
Right. Or I don't know that I can.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you, shit, you can do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. If Anthony Orphé from Syracuse, New York, can go to Columbia Business School, can work on Wall Street, can be at one of the most prestigious investment banks in the world, you can be the fucking president if you want to. I'm telling you right now.
Agreed.
And we'll get into all of those things. But, like Wilber, so tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Oh, sure. So my name is Wilber Trivino. Unlike Anthony, I only have 2 degrees under my belt. I do better. I have a BA from John Jay College and a JD from SUNY Buffalo, and so I've been a litigator for the last 9 years, and I've fought a lot of different court battles in many different areas of law. Always my clients being people from the community, right? And so, which is what I always wanted, and that's what I prefer, right? Even when I was in law school, I didn't do the on-campus interviews with the big white shoe firms, and
right.
I can give 2 craps about that.
We did our own shit.
Yeah. And so, been doing that, and then in 2021, I opened up my own law firm, Trivino Law Firm.
Shout out.
Shout out at Trivino Firm NYC, by the way.
Let's go.
And so because I hated litigation, I was like, there has to be a better way for people in our communities to reach their big ideas and their goals, because they do have them. People in our communities are trying to level up, but like you said, right, they don't know how to get there, or they don't know that they're capable, and they end up sometimes getting themselves into very like messy situations,
right?
And then which then forces me to like charge them $10,000 at minimum to resolve a dispute in court. So I came up with this new approach called preventive law or preventive legal services, and which is for those who are attorneys is just being general counsel, right? Like general counsel for people and families, right? And just showing them the path and paving the way for them to reach whatever goal that they want to achieve. And so far, so good, going strong, revenue's up, marketing's on point. Shout out to Digitality out there and Chris LaBella, you know what I'm saying? And so, and now I'm here co-hosting with you. And so thanks for bringing me on. It's an honor to be here. Like I said before, we were a force to be reckoned with in law school, and we continue to be a force, when we do things together. And so, unstoppable. So thank you very much for having me here. It's an honor, and let's get it.
I think it really was a no-brainer. And I tell you, because most of it was your idea for us to do this, right? And that's the truth. It's the truth.
I just came up with the name.
You just, and that shit, that was the biggest part, even though you came up with my name, right? It's let's name it Start the Day with Orphé, right? That's my name.
It rhymes. It
does rhyme. But like when I first moved to New York, you know, to go to Columbia, and I was living with Wilber and his wife until I found a place and my wife moved down. You know, we would be up at the gym, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning, grinding. And we would have these same types of conversations about how we're going to get better. You know, how we're going to level up. You know, what about the people that we know? How are they doing it?
Right.
And Wilbur one day looked at me and said, well, shit, I think you should do a podcast. And I looked at him like, look, man, I'm about to have a baby. My wife is, you know, about to move down. Like I just started grad school again.
Right.
I don't have time for that, but it sounds cool, right? It sounds cool. And, you know, I'm like, well, what would he even talk about? But then it's like, we talk about this, right? These are the same things, the same conversations, the similar conversations we've been having for 15 years, right? And I think people can understand that, you know, like we are really close. Like our families vacation together. Like you were one of the first people that I told that we were having a baby, right? You took the pregnancy photos on the beach, you know, you and Andrea for my wife. You know what I mean? Like
that is
true. That's how in Hawaii. You know, we were on a baby moon in Hawaii, just so, you know, for everybody to know. Shout out to my wife, Rima, you know, and Zora.
Big Z.
You know, the loves of my life for sure. But we became close like this, I think, through a lot of the topics that we're going to cover over this, you know, over this journey, especially like relationship building, right? Talking about the people that we've had these encounters with, right? Folks that we thought maybe been good friends, but ended up not being good friends, right? Because when we're talking about leveling up or we're talking about growing, right? Growth happens through your interactions with other people. And the only way you're going to truly grow is, you know, sometimes you need those hard interactions where you're growing because you learned something about the negative way in which somebody made you feel. But I think more importantly are the positive ways and the reinforcement from people seeing your light. True. Right? From people being able to look at you and say, I really think that person, that kid, that guy has a lot to do. I think that they have talent, you know, and I want to pour into that. And so we have like all of these experiences, right, that we're going to talk about. So, you know, the goal is that, you know, we're going to get these out to you guys every week. You know, we're going to be having different conversations. We're going to allow you to have some input into what we're talking about, right? If you think that there's something out there that you want to talk about that maybe we might touch on or we might not even have touched on that you want covered, start the day with orphe@gmail.com. And that way you can send comments, you can shout us out, you can say, hey, I think you were wrong about this. We'll be able to address that right here on camera, right for you, let you know, hey, look, maybe we were wrong and maybe we could think about it a different way, or no, we were right and this is why.
I mean, speak for yourself. I'm never wrong. Nah, that is
episode number 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? How to let your ego go.
Right. And let me look at the camera when I say this for those who are taking me seriously. It's a joke.
Yep, that was a joke.
That fell flat.
Yeah. hold on. We use the. Yo, I need to hit the button for him. We need to hit the button on that one. Wah, wah, wah. But you know, we'll also have some guest speakers. We'll bring guests in to give their perspectives, and I mean, between Wilber and I, we've been able to build, you know, some massive, you know, like networks, right? Wilber's been out here. He has his ears really to the community, understanding what's happening, understanding the needs for a lot of people, you know, and that's why he is the people's attorney, right? Wilber Trivino, doing a lot of different things, rapping, you know, all kinds of shit. You know, you learn new things about your friends all the time. But my network has been, you know, I've been able to network and build relationships and foster these relationships with, you know, city, you know, mayors and senators and then now on Wall Street and, you know, people in private equity and, you know, people in business, you know. One of my good friends is on the Olympic rowing team, right? He's going to come in and talk, you know, about things. And like, there's just a lot of different perspectives out there. You know, everybody's perspective is multi-layered, right? And I think we'll have the opportunity to unpack some of those layers.
Yeah.
And I think, we are excited, man.
And it's going to be very exciting because, like, like you said earlier, right? No holds bar, right? We're just coming in, real talk, honest truth, always with love, right?
Yeah.
No place for hate. This is not the space for hate. But you know, some conversations are gonna get difficult, right? But that's how, you know, we need to have those conversations, right?
Absolutely.
That's the integral part of the growth process, is to have difficult conversations without that element of hate. It's all coming from love at the end of the day. And so like, this is for the betterment of everybody, for us included, right?
Yes.
Because, you know, we don't know everything.
No.
Or at least, you know, I don't know everything. Can't speak for Anthony, you know, with 4 degrees and whatever. But at the end of the day, like, I know that at the very least I'm gonna be learning something myself through these guest speakers or through these episodes, right? It's gonna be like self-reflection out loud type of situation for me. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see, you know, where this leads.
Right.
You know, hopefully we don't get canceled.
Nah, there will be no cancellation. No cancellation. And I think because everybody, you know, will connect.
Yeah.
You know, everyone that is here, everyone that's listening, there's a vibe, right? We will connect through that vibe. People are going to connect, I think, through our story, right? Our story, our collective story of, you know, like how we became close. And I want to jump into that because it's really important, I think, how we became close, right? But I think also the energy, right? People feed off of energy.
Right.
And I think that everyone's going to be able to feel our energy, you know, whether they're here in New York, whether they're in Florida, whether in California, or whether they're overseas somewhere else. You're going to be able to feel this energy because we're real, right? And we're honest. And honestly speaking, like, I love you, right? And so
same here, bro. Same here.
With that, we're going to do, I think, great things, man. And we've always known that, right? But it didn't always start that way, right?
Right.
In law school, like, we first met, I remember the very first day that I moved into our apartment and I left like all of my shit in the middle of the floor because my mom called me and was like, hey, I need you to come back to Syracuse. So I literally took all the stuff out of my old BMW 318 M Sport,
the green one,
put it on the floor in the middle of the floor, and left you a note that said, I'm sorry about this, but I had to run to Syracuse. I'll move it when I get back.
Yeah.
And then I bounced.
Right.
For like 2 days. It was there for a couple of days, right?
Right.
So I can imagine, like, what were you thinking when you first saw that shit? Like, oh, here we fucking go.
Nah, so it's funny because I didn't think anything, right? I came with my parents, right? And I was just like,
oh, that's embarrassing.
I was confused as all hell, like, why the fuck are the clothes and shit here in the middle of the living room? But I was like, whatever, you know, like, I saw the note. I was like, all right, you know, whatever. And then I just started, like, unpacking and moving my stuff and you know, saying bye to my parents and whatever. And so I didn't think anything of it, you know what I'm saying? Because you at least had the courtesy to leave a note. But even if you didn't leave a note, I think I wouldn't have thought anything about it. Just be like, I ain't picking that shit up. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I didn't really care, you know? As long as it didn't interfere with my thing, which it didn't, then I didn't see a problem with it.
Good. That's good to know. I did not know that your mom and your dad saw all of my drawers and shit.
Yeah, now my mom was like, what kind of roommate do you have?
Right.
I was like, hey, you know, like, it says that he had to run for an emergency. So, you know, I was like, we'll see when I meet him, you know? And I remember that when you finally came through and we had a conversation, I remember asking, the first question that came out of my mouth after, like, our conversation, I was like, you know, like, I grew up on hip hop.
Yeah.
Right? I grew up on the block saying the word, the N word, right?
Saying
yeah, oh shit, okay. Yeah, saying
yeah.
And so like, do you have, and so some, like, it's part of my speech, you know, when I'm at home or just comfortable, like, so do you have an issue with that? And I remember you saying, like, yeah, like,
we're not doing that, right?
Yeah, we're not doing that, right? And especially because we just met, right? So I was like, all right, cool, you know. But, like, from that moment, like, we respected each other's boundaries.
Yeah.
And so, interestingly enough, we didn't even start out that close.
No.
We were in two different circles.
Yep.
We just lived together.
Yes.
But we were in two different circles.
Yeah.
You didn't like the people I was hanging out with really that much, and I didn't like the people you were hanging out with that much. You know, so we all thought they were like fishy characters. To
Right.
some sort of
For the
degree.
same reasons, it just happened that we found it out in different ways, right?
Right.
And I, oh my God, that conversation, I remember that conversation. And that time I was really on like this, ancient Kemet, Egypt, like they were the inventors of all. I was like on a really like this Black history wave. Like, and I was like, nah, we're not doing that. Like, no, I don't respect that. And it's funny because coming from, like Syracuse and Rochester and like being upstate, there's a much different vibe than being downstate, right? It's just culturally so much different. And you don't get to have those kind of conversations with people when you're living in Rochester and you're living in Syracuse, right? Or even in Buffalo. In Buffalo, you just have no choice. They're going to call you that anyways. And it's like, I was like, nah, nope, no, we're not doing that, because I was so like pro-Black. It's like, I'm still pro-Black. It's just that, my perspective has changed,
Gotcha.
right? And I just remember like, yeah, we didn't hang out really. We just saw each other in passing, like,
Right.
and then we like sat with each other like in class,
Right.
right? Like, because we had all the same classes, right? So we would just like we would go sit each other, and then on Fridays we had everybody turn.
Right.
Because we would be like, turn up Fridays,
Friday
in
dance.
class, with everybody doing the Friday dance.
The Friday dance.
And that was just because, we kind of like vibed on that, and we lived together, and people were like, oh, you guys are so cool, right? But we didn't vibe together.
Right.
Right. That first semester, we didn't really talk.
Nah.
We didn't talk about real shit. We just was like,
Right. It wasn't
What's
so
up?
it wasn't it definitely wasn't the relationship that it is now.
No, not even close.
For sure. It was just like hi and bye, like you're my roommate, and we're keeping it cordial.
Right.
We're keeping it cool. Like no ill will against each other.
No.
But it was just like, yo, you gonna be home later or whatever? You're like, yeah. And then it just so happened that, I think I got arrested. Things started to change when I got arrested with my, open beer can.
yeah.
Literally like during winter break of the first semester of law school.
Yo, that's so crazy.
Crazy party at the house,
Yeah.
like jean stains all over,
Yeah, we did throw wild parties
It
at the
was
crib.
nuts. Jello shots everywhere. We're going to another party, and I decide to have an open beer, like take an open beer can and just drive, right? And I forget to put my headlights on, and I get arrested, right, on campus. And by Monday, that happened Friday, Saturday, right? By Monday, everyone knew
Yeah.
that I had gotten arrested.
Yeah.
The whole school knew.
Yep.
And it was like the talk of the town. And I had my license suspended, and you were there amongst with some other like, few people, like take me to the supermarket, bro, because I couldn't drive, and take me to places that I had to get to because I couldn't drive, and just being there, very supportive throughout, and I will always be grateful for that, and so after that, like I started seeing you in a different light, and like starting to talk to you a little bit more, and then you had your own incident about
Yeah.
with the dude or like the people that you were chilling with, and then I'll let you speak about that. But that's when things changed for me.
Yeah, man. I remember when that shit happened, and we were at home and we had our party and everybody, was all cool. And then I remember you guys kind of like left, and I was still at the crib. And then I remember waking up because I got a phone call from one of your associates at that time, and was like, hey, have you seen Will? And I'm like, nah, like what's going on? And it was like a secret. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what's happening, but all right, that's cool. And then I think I found out when you got home, right? And I was like, oh shit, like for real? Like you good? Like,
Yeah.
and it kind of, and my question was like, well, and I was thinking this, like, well, what the people that you hanging with, like what they doing? Like what are they doing about it? Like, are they helping you? And I remember, I don't know if you were embarrassed or if you were just like, damn, I don't know what to do. Like you were nervous, like, is this shit gonna mess me up in law school? Like, and at the time we had just met a gentleman who we're gonna talk a lot about in our Building Relationships Part 1, Building Positive Relationships Part 1 episode.
The Black Panther.
The Black Panther.
The Buffalo Black Panther.
We're gonna talk a lot about him and about that time. But we had just kind of like met him.
Right.
And met him because you met him through me, right? And I was like, well, we need to call him. We need to call him and let him know, like, this is what's going on. What can we do?
And the thing with that is, because we had just met him, I was embarrassed to reach out to him.
Right.
And the first person I reached out to was Brandon. Remember
Oh,
Brandon?
yeah. My man Porty.
Like, yeah. So I was like, Brandon, like, yo, this happened in the third. And I'm like, he's like, talk to John. And I was like, yo, I'm so embarrassed because this is like, this shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have been doing this like in law school. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like, I didn't really give a damn about every other student or my peers in law school knowing that I got arrested. I was more embarrassed with John.
Right.
And my older mentors really, like, I felt like, and also my parents, right? Like I let them down a little bit by doing this mistake. And then Brandon was the one like, nah, like, John's not gonna judge you. You'll be good. Right. And then like he may like chew your ear off a little bit, bit you out a little bit. But that's it. You know? And when I called John was just like, he didn't even do that. I remember he didn't even do that. He was just like, did you cooperate? Yeah. Did you do it? Yeah. He asked me questions. He was like, all right, I got you. That's it. And he took care of it. Right. Like he represented me throughout the whole thing, got it dropped or reduced to a DWAI. And with the limit that I had, bro, I blew a .17.
Yeah, I saw those Jello shots.
Yeah, I saw that red line where I was, or the blue line where I was supposed to be, and the red line where I was wee, you know. And he got he got it reduced to a traffic infraction, which is not really disclosable, right? Or I don't need to disclose it for the bar, but I did anyway, you know. But yeah, so I'll forever be grateful to him on that, and also to you, because without you as being the bridge, I would have never met John.
Right. And so we spent that whole winter, right? That's when I got you into golf. Right, I got you into golf, so we would.
And I got you into Sons of Anarchy with Cold
Stones.
Man,
yo. Like we used to, yo. I never watched the fucking Anarchy, and I was like the Sons of Anarchy, and I was like, yo, this show is fucking amazing. Like we would be on the couch till whatever time, just sitting down with snacks and shit.
Sometimes we didn't even go to the bar on Friday
just
or Saturday.
Watching TV, like watching horror movies. Like I remember first time I saw Insidious. Yeah. Right, that when we watched that show, I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is a real horror movie. Like this shit's wild."
I couldn't sleep that night. I remember that.
And so, like we just bonded. It was really like brothers. You know, these are the things that brothers do when times get hard. You hunker down and you sit together.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, you sit together and you figure out what's the next move. How we gonna make this really work? And I think some of the best work. Without that, we probably, unfortunately, wouldn't have been, I don't think, as close, right? Without understanding that we have so many commonalities, right? Especially coming into this legal field, being, minority attorneys, there are but so many of us. Right. And we have to be able to stick together.
It was like, what, like 7 of us? 7 of men, right? Of men of color.
So in men of color in our class, man, of our class was like 400. Or something like that. There was like 7
or 8, yeah.
And not all of us stuck together, but there was a cohort of like 5 that we stuck together like glue. Right. And we made sure that we continued to push each other, and it really started with me and you. And I'll forever be grateful, right, for that time, man. That time was really a time of growth. Yeah. It was when I felt a lot of the emotions that we talk about. How am I thinking about the relationships? Thinking like, oh, this other black dude, right, that we have what appears on the surface to be a lot of commonalities, like, we're from the same place, we're really cool. Why is it that our relationship isn't, what I thought, right? Like, why is he so weird? So I'm like, man, look. All I want to do is come here and have fun and, do well. And, your agenda is something completely different. And just trying to understand why, man, like, dang, like, I thought because we were from the same place, we liked the same stuff, that we have, you know, all of these common things that we want to be. And it was a facade. It wasn't real, right? And like with us, we had some commonalities, but they weren't readily apparent.
Right.
And we didn't realize them until we sat down,
right?
Until we had the conversation. And that's something that we, you know, that's a real lesson, right? For people out there, like when you're building bridges and building relationships. A lot of times, you know, your similarities and the things that are going to bring you closer together with people aren't always readily available, right? You're going to need to sit down with them and have conversations. You're going to need to build that bridge. Right.
And be open, be willing to be open.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Not build a wall.
Right.
Bridges over walls. And I think if we hadn't been able to do that, you know, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. You know, I would hit you up, you know, maybe text you every now and then, like, oh, you know, what's up? You know, maybe I'm in New York. We wouldn't travel together, you know, like our families wouldn't be close, you know. My daughter wouldn't know you was Uncle Wilber. You know, all of those things wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that moment in time in which we needed each other for personal growth. Right? We needed each other. We used each other to grow, to level up, and we grew close. Right? Our lives became intertwined in that, right? My friends then became your friends, the ones outside of law school, right? And I love it.
Yeah.
I really do love it.
Ditto, bro. Ditto.
Yo,
sure.
man, and I'm so excited. Like I can't stop smiling because I'm excited because I know that just through that little tidbit of a story that we had right there, just talking about how we became close in that little bit. And we didn't even get into everything, right? We didn't even really talk about Mr. Horn, man. Like Mr. Horn, who is still alive and kicking. Mr. Horn was old when we met him, and that was 15 years ago. Yeah. And that is one of the best golfers I've ever seen in my life. Right. His
voice still comes in my head whenever I'm doing the drive.
Right.
Something.
I mean, like he's just somebody who really was influential for us just in thinking about doing something different, right? Like I love golf, and I've loved golf almost my entire life. Wilber, you never played golf. You were like, man, what the f is this?
I hate golf.
And then I got you taking lessons,
right?
And I'm driving us in blizzards to go to lessons, man. Like, and it was amazing. It was really an amazing time. You think about it. Didn't have a lot of money.
Right.
We had a lot of time.
I think you gave me some of your old golf clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, man. And it was just a great time. Yeah. And it's stuff like that, man, through all of those stories, through all of those experiences, like we've only touched just a tip of our law school experience, not everything, right? Just the tip of the law school experience, man. Like we went through so much.
Well, we can't give them everything, so we gotta piece it up a little bit so we can have some more material for the following episodes coming along.
Man,
so
like we've got so much to talk about.
I think at this point is like it's enough.
Yeah, look. Then that's why you're here, to keep me on task, right? Because I could talk about these things forever.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we definitely can, but then it would be a very boring and rambling podcast.
Right.
Like, yo, these dudes talking for 4 hours, like. Someone cut them. But,
for our first episode, I do want to leave our audience with this. And that is, one of the people that I really love, and I'm going to call her my mentor, and I'm going to continue to do that until I get to meet her. Her name is Mel Robbins. She doesn't know me from Adam, right? But she's an author. She is a podcaster. She is a motivational speaker. She is someone who I look at and say, yeah, that's my mentor, because the things that she says, are really powerful to me. And she says, the change and growth that you might want to go through might be scary, right? Or it might be painful. Right. But without it, you're never going to get to where you want to be. And that's the journey that we're going to have on Start the Day with Orphé.
Dope. I look forward to it.
So I'm going to leave us with this. We love you. Let's get the day started.